Hey guys, welcome back to NASCAR Talk. Today I'll be talking about the good and bad moves so far this silly season. Well, I won't be talking about all of them, but I will be talking about the ones that stuck out to me, ones that I think are going to be really beneficial to the organization or the driver, or that will be far from beneficial. Hope you guys enjoy. The first move I want to talk about is Ross Chastain moving from Chip Ganassi, which has shut down, and he's now going to Trackhouse. Trackhouse is the team that bought Chip Ganassi. So I think for Trackhouse, this could either be a really good move or a not so great move. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's how all moves are. But for Ross Chastain moving to that team, he had some incredible runs. In fact, I think he might have even finished second once, and did he get third at Darlington? I can't remember, but he had some pretty great runs with Chip Ganassi. Now, I remember I went to Bristol, and I'm pretty sure I watched him finish 22nd. So, not exactly the most consistent driver, but I think if he can just maybe get rid of a couple of those bad runs and just tone up the consistency a little bit, and then when he sprinkles in those really good runs, I think he's the perfect driver for Trackhouse. Daniel Suarez, he had an interesting year with Trackhouse. I think for me anyway, when you look at Daniel Suarez's season, you're like, wow, yeah, I think that was a good launch. You look at the stats, and I was a little surprised looking at the stats, like, he didn't do as good as I actually thought he did. So I'm hoping Ross Chastain can bring some life to that organization that maybe Daniel Suarez didn't quite bring in the first season. Now, I think Daniel is very beneficial to the team. I think he's a little more consistent, and I think he's going to be their consistent driver, while Ross Chastain is actually going to be up front competing for wins, while some races he might be in the back. So I think if they wanted to contend for wins, Ross Chastain was the perfect move. I think he's going to have a couple shots at a win next season. Considering he's got a year under his belt, it's a new car, nobody's really had a full-time season in this thing yet at all. So I think it's a start for Ross Chastain. He's got a year in the Cup Series competing with these veterans and overall incredible race car drivers. I think it's a great move for Trackhouse. Now for Ross Chastain, I think Chip Ganassi is, well, in 2021, I think they were a little better than Trackhouse. You might be thinking, well, Cole, Trackhouse, it was their first season, and they hired a guy who maybe was moved up to the Cup Series too soon and isn't exactly doing that great. You can't blame him. I still think that Chip Ganassi was a little more funded, and just the experience in that organization with a teammate like Kurt Busch. I mean, Daniel Suarez has a decent bit of experience, a couple of years with Joe Gibbs, and then a year with SHR and Gaunt Brothers, and then his year with Trackhouse. So he's got some experience, but I don't think he's kind of the teammate that Ross Chastain needs. I think he was great for helping Ross Chastain learn the series, get better as the season went on. So I think Kurt Busch was a great teammate for Ross. I'm going to say it's a good move because I think Trackhouse is a pretty well-funded team. I think the guy's name is Justin Marks. He's a great team owner from what I've heard. So I think this team, they're at a fork in the road right now. They have one path which could lead to Cup championships and a lot of success, in my opinion. And then the other path is leading to be like a RCR where, no, I'm not talking about old RCR. I'm talking about now with Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, where maybe they can get a playoff run here and there, and the other driver just flat out misses the playoffs. I don't know. I think that's the two options that Trackhouse has in front of them. I'm hoping that they can become a championship-winning team. I like Ross Chastain a lot. He's a great driver. I think he's got a great personality. You want to see him do well. I'm just hoping Trackhouse and Ross Chastain are a good fit. The next move I want to talk about is Austin Sindrick moving from Penske's Xfinity organization to their Cup team. Now, he will be replacing Brad Keselowski. First, I'm going to talk about the move for Penske. So, they've got Joey Logano, which he's young, but I think you could say he's got enough experience to be called a veteran, I guess. And they need that. Brad Keselowski was their veteran, but now Joey has that mantle. He has to be the veteran for that team, and I think that's good for Joey. I think he can maybe take up the leadership role. Then you've got Ryan Blaney, who I think of as kind of like a Chase Elliott, ironically, even like they're best friends, but I think of him kind of as a Chase Elliott, the guy who's going to go do good, but he's not the leader of the team. He's going to do great, though. He's going to have some success. 2021 was a good example of that. He had his best career season, I think, in the Cup Series. So that was a good example. So he's going to be the guy that they want to have success. Joey's going to be the leader, and I think so what's going to happen, he's going to try to lead the team, kind of like a Denny Hamlin or even a Kyle Larson role. I don't think he's going to go win 10 races next season. I do think that he will be a good leader for this organization, Ryan Blaney, and then you got Austin Cindric, the guy who's going to be coming up as a rookie. I was impressed with his starts this season. Most of them were on road courses, but there was, I believe, Circuit of the Americas where he led a good 10 laps at the beginning and stayed out on, I believe it was slick tires in the rain, or was it rain tires when it was dry out? I'm not sure, but point being, he really impressed me at Circuit of the Americas, and I believe Road America, he showed a lot of promise until I believe he was either spun or had issues under the hood. But I think Austin Cindric moving up is a great move, and what I love about this is he took an extra season in the Xfinity Series. I feel like nowadays you do good in the Xfinity Series and you're thrown right up into Cup. And he was going to go to Wood Brothers, which I'm not a big fan of that move. I think he needs good equipment to start off. Look at Cole Custer. He's floundering right now, and he was in our SHR equipment. Imagine if he was in like RCR equipment. That wouldn't have ended well at all. So I want to see Austin Cindric move to Penske, and that's exactly what we got. I think it's going to be a great move for Penske. They've got two very successful drivers. Brad Keselowski, nearing the end of his career. I think he's still in his 30s, and you look at drivers like Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, and Kurt Busch. They're either in their 40s or close to their 40s, and they're still doing good. So I think he might have had a couple championship runs still left in him, but I like the move to Roush Fenway for Brad. I think Austin Cindric, it's a great move for the team. And for Austin Cindric, he's an Xfinity champion. He finished second in the points this past season. 2 top 2 points finishes in a row. Now, he's had more than 2 years in the Xfinity Series. He had a year before his championship run, I believe, where he wasn't as good. I'm hoping that he can, hit the ground running with Penske, because I believe he has a legitimate shot at the playoffs. And for the next move I'm going to talk about, this is the first move that I'm considering bad, and I'm considering it bad for both the organization and the driver. This is Harrison Burton going to Wood Brothers. Now, right now, he sits with Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series, but this past season, he went winless. And I just don't understand Wood Brothers' decision here to kick out Matt DiBenedetto and bring on Harrison Burton. I think Harrison Burton is very talented. There's no doubt about that. The past season, before 2021, he won a couple of races. He made the playoffs. So I think he needs another year in the Xfinity Series. At least I would give him 2 years and maybe move him up depending on his statistics for those 2 years. So we'll see what he does with Wood Brothers. But for Wood Brothers, they're bringing on a rookie, and for Wood Brothers, they're not a very funded team. They are kind of like baby Penske at this point. They don't make the playoffs every year. I don't know what to think of Wood Brothers, but bringing on a rookie with minimal success in the Xfinity Series is not what they need. And I think it may even be the end of this team. I think Wood Brothers is a great organization, and I don't mean like that they shut down. I'm thinking maybe that, the team just drops in performance a lot with bringing a young rookie on with minimal success in the Xfinity Series. The move doesn't make sense. I get the sponsorship involved. Dex Imaging? I know they bring on a lot of sponsorship for Harrison Burton. He made a couple starts with Gaunt Brothers in 2021. Nothing special. I mean, I think the only time he made the highlight reel was when he brought a gas can off pit road at Talladega, which is not exactly the best way to make the highlight reel. So I don't think it's a good move for Wood Brothers. Now, for Harrison Burton, if I were him, I think I would be completely fine with being with Joe Gibbs in the Xfinity Series. It's Joe Gibbs Racing, an organization that just won the championship with Daniel Hemrick. I would be fine staying with that team. I wouldn't want to go to a mediocre Cup team. I don't think it's a good move for Harrison Burton. He's going to a higher series with more talented drivers, and his equipment's getting worse. So if you think about it, it's going to get harder for him, so his So, I mean, his performance should drop a little bit. And then his equipment drops, so theoretically, he should be running around 25th to maybe 15th to 25th. Point being, I don't think it's going to end well for Harrison Burton. He's very talented, like I mentioned. I just don't think he's ready for Cup. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. It was fun to make. I know it's a little late compared to my last video, which was a stop motion. I know it took me 2 months to get it out, but I mean, right now I've already stopped my Daytona stop motion. I point because it's right here, but I am about to have completed 2 laps in a week and a half. I think that's better than my other one. It's going to be a 7-lap race at Daytona. I released some information about it. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I want to thank you. 102 views right now, I think, or at least at the time I'm recording this. So I want to thank you for so much support on that video, and Happy New Year's to everyone. Thanks for watching this NASCAR talk.